Netanyahu is telling Donald Trump, is that time we do the needful, that the dying of Christians and the Biafrans, the Middle Belters will not stop any moment from now, any time from now. That the only thing that can, see to this ending of the insecurity in Nigeria is to finally restore and recognize Biafra. A lot of this has caused wide celebration in the southeastern part of Nigeria. What's your take as Netanyahu sending Eastern message to the Igbos and to Nigerians?
It was a direct message all over the world when Israel was actually marking their Passover, and of course Easter, sending a clear message to the world. In that message, the just massacre that has actually gone viral was also a point of reference, and the Israeli government, Benjamin Netanyahu, asserted through the president of Israel, Isaac Herzog, who led that speech and made it very clear that he talking about Christians all over the world, irrespective, where you are, and specifically, about the Christian persecution that is going on all around the world at the moment, given the biggest attack in Jos, where a lot of people were actually massacred on a Passover, Christmas festive, period, just few days after Christians has emerged from Lent, and that massacre actually, happened. That, of course, by the position of what Israel stood for, how Christian perceived Jerusalem to be. The Prime Minister of Israel now met with his cabinet and trying to, talk about what is actually going on. They now decided that, having assessed everything, they still stand on what they feel is the right thing to do in trying to get world attention to a decision that they needed to do at this moment. And it was a mandate given to the president himself, Isaac Herzog, having direct backing of the Israeli Prime Minister, where he said that his own assertion and decision is that there's no two ways about it, because what is happening in Nigeria is religious based, extremism and all that, and they cannot stop. And the only way, is through a breakup and recognizing Biafra will end genocide in Nigeria. Recognizing Biafra will end genocide in Nigeria. That was what was the president himself, Isaac, Herzog, echoed around the world, thanking Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli government, for that understanding and positioning themselves for what is going to happen any moment, from now. So it was a direct message to the federal government of Nigeria, also a direct message to the Sultan of Sokoto, and a direct message to the caliphate, the Fulani caliphate, to get themselves prepared when the world will begin to take a certain decision. I remember before now, the United States government themselves warned that any further attack, that is, Dr. Sam Bromberg, who made it very clearly that any further attack, and attacks has been happening even after the Jos massacre. We are hearing that there were other attacks, reprisals attack and other attacks carried out by the same people, in Jos too, in Plateau, and that was actually what it is at the moment. So these informations are gathering are pointing directly that the United States of America did not make any wrong decision by pronouncing Nigeria a country of a particular concern. So you can see that a lot of people are wondering why is it that Israel is getting so much interest and attention on Biafra. At this point in time, and what should their interest actually be? Yes, there are so many interests, and there's so many things to share between the ancient black Hebrews and, of course, the Jews of the world at this moment now. That's historical facts, and there's historical connection. And also, Biafra is predominantly, Christians going through a persecution for over 60, 70 years at the moment. And remember what Israel actually went through during their own period. That sympathy is already, there. And they have seen that IPOB members are not hostile, people. They are not terrorists. They don't carry out anything that has to do that will jeopardize humanity and civilization. So they have come to reality that at this point, I think it is something worthwhile, and that is why at every moment in time, you see IPOB, are always meeting with the Knesset Parliament in Israel, talking to the congressmen for them to understand the reality on ground that Nigeria and Biafra cannot cohabit, and the cohabitation should be seen as the amalgamation, and that is the only way. Because you see why the reasoning hold water very deeply. Why the Biafrans are making this case? If there is it's not as if they cannot engage themselves if the world actually allows it. The Biafra should fight their way through, just like what Israel is going through. At this point in time. But everybody thought that the world has come to that point of understanding where we don't need to take lives just because of self-determination. And that is what we're saying too. We don't need to take lives because of one Nigeria. So in as much as we cannot take life because of one Nigeria, there's need also for us not to take life to have for self-determination. And that is why we are connecting, calling on the international community, world leaders, to look into what is going on in Nigeria, to understand that this is a pure political conquest, and this is an agenda to Islamize Nigeria's non-Christians, and you can see, and they have been doing it over and over again. So if America want to look the other way around, I want to believe that now that we have continuously, just for some time now, I've seen the Israeli government show enormous and wonderful interest for Biafra to break out from Nigeria. It is going to be of immense benefit to the two countries in terms of relationship, in terms of bilaterals, in terms of treaties, and in terms of standing and protecting the black race, the black Africa, and of course a modern nation that everybody can be proud of. I always say that in black, I'm not talking about North Africa, I'm talking about black Africa, countries, we have not been able to see any Africa, that can match the strength of Biafra. Biafrans are the sixth richest tribe in the world, yes, and the fourth most traveled people, sixth richest tribe in the world, fourth most traveled people around the world. So you can see that when freedom comes, this will can be able to stand the test of time. This can be able to contribute to civilization and to humanity. And that is why this solidarity all over the place, trying to bring the attention of the world to see to the self-determination agenda, not as a threat, but as a reality, something that is due, whose opportunity has actually, come.
But we've seen a popular US intel was so aggressive, saying the Fulanis are coming again. He's telling Tinubu, telling the government, he said this Fulani militias are just starting. And he's telling Tinubu that they should get set, that in no distant time, in Benue, in Taraba, in Kwara State, that these people are ready to attack any moment from now. Do you think that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu government have what it takes to contain and to finally, destroy the agenda of these giants?
Of course, we know that he's not definitely going to do anything in that regard. The intelligence,
But it's going to get the culprit of these people that
and
perpetrated this.
it was even worse under Buhari, because Buhari will still come out and say, I assure you, you understand. But he has not, but Tinubu has not been able to come up with a direct concrete plan of, or even make a threat, a concrete statement over the killing. And remember, more Nigerians have died under his watch. Now that they have given him expo, that there's going to be attack in the north any moment from now. Let us even believe that it did not come from Nigerians, it comes from a foreigner. Is he going to act in that capacity to stop the attack before it takes place? Because that is when you prove that your intelligence is working. You stop the attack before it takes place. Can we just watch and see? But I can tell you, they will also be there at the end of the day. This attack will continue. This attack will continue, and they will still hit their targets at the end of the day, and they will still tell you that they are always on top of the situation. So the U.S. intelligence now, will Nigerian government actually act on it? Can we watch and wait and see? Now they have given them publicly, they have told them publicly that more attacks are coming. Can they actually, in the recess of it, act before that attack happens? Of course, it's not going to happen. So all these things, I think, to understand, Ejikoku, Jidofo, what it means that the world has been telling Nigeria to do the needful, do the needful, do the needful. But it looks as if, the federal government is what they are, trying to make Nigerians defend themselves against government gun. That means government is coming to kill the citizens and asking the citizens to defend themselves. That is what is happening in Nigeria. So the world has been telling the federal government to do the needful, so that when they actually take action, nobody is going to blame them. But I think the reason is that the plan was actually exposed, and the consciousness is there on every move by the Fulani people. It's already there, and that is why the Amnesty too came out and said, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, leave this guy, grant him amnesty. Kanu cannot be used for politics 2027. And that's what the Amnesty is telling him at this moment. There's nothing like amnesty. You understand? What they are trying to tell you is that, see, you cannot talk about amnesty for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal. It is only when somebody is a criminal or have committed a crime, that is when you talk about amnesty. But the angle that Ohaneze is coming from is well understood as a Pan-African Igbo cultural group. Okay, would Bola Ahmed Tinubu hacking to the voice of Ohaneze at this point in time?
By using the Finnish government in order to silence the Biafran voice. But to you, as a woman, that is why they said the woman can do better what men can do. And you have proven it that you are better than your other colleagues, which I will not mention their name, for security reasons and for the betterment of everybody. Yes, Sultan of Sokoto is saying now the truth. They cannot survive.
They cannot survive. Why do you
they
think you
cannot survive? The reason why they will not survive is because what is sustaining and keeping this nation as one Nigeria is coming from the Biafra land.
It's coming from the Biafra land.
Biafra land is a Biafran product. It's a Biafran commodity. It's a Biafran resources. It's a Biafran money. Fame. So taking it away from them is like taking food away from Nigeria. That's why he said that they cannot survive it. When I was saying it, if you watch my previous videos, other ones I've said some time ago, I told you that once Biafra leave Nigeria, there will be no Nigeria. Nigeria will go hungry. I know what I'm saying. Sultan of Sokoto is acknowledging my statement. One Nigeria is what God has embedded on Biafra land. That is one Nigeria. Once you remove it, do you know that, let me shock you, do you know that the Sultan of Sokoto, only him owns a 23 oil well in Biafra land? But not even as Dokubo, nobody from the East that own any gold or mining company in Borno State.
23.
Yes, I said 23. You can do your findings. Mention Igbo person or Biafran person that own 10 oil well in their land. The oil well that come from their own land. But somebody is controlling 23. You see why he said that if na Igbos should go, that they are not going to survive. Of a truth, they are not going to survive. One, do you know why they are not going to survive? One, economically, they cannot survive. In terms of intelligence, they cannot survive. In terms of ideology and development, they cannot survive. In terms of sustainable economy and sustainable good environment, they cannot survive. And they lastly, mentally, they cannot survive. Check out get sense. Now, anywhere you push and go, you go, no. But you cannot trade with Igbos, whether educated or not educated. They have something to drop on the table. In anywhere Igbo man appear, whether he go school or no go school, that place you go know say Igbo man is around. Because we go bring in development, because we go produce and we contribute to the growth and the success and the development of that area. Go to 36 states or 37, including the FCT, making it 37 states that make up this country. Go to any state, then check their development. Igbo man contributes 75. More than every other tribe in Nigeria. Take a look at it, my beloved brother. I must be honest to us. In Lagos State, do you know how many Fulanis that are in Lagos? How many of them are paying tax? How many of them are renting house? How many of them are paying for electricity? I'm asking you, how many of them are paying for sweeping the environment? How many of them are paying? There are none. How many? How many? But you eventually see every average Igbo man, at least, even if he did not do much, he will try to have at least one room apartment. So landlord is benefiting from that. The economy of Lagos State is growing from that. Sweeping, they pay in the compound. They pay for electricity, NEPA they use. We pay for water that we use. We pay for virtually everything we use in Lagos State. But how many of them? Go now, you see many of them in the night, every night. You see them sleeping in the gutter. Somebody that is sleeping inside gutter, how do you expect him to pay rent? Is gutter a house? Who is the landlord of gutter? No, let us be sincere. You see why he's telling you that they are not going to survive? Because mentally, everything will work against them. But the Igbos have advantage because we have been industrious from the origin. We have been mindfully independent, mindfully developers, mindfully economically. Do you understand? So you see why he's telling you that they are not going to cope. They are coping today is because Igbos are still in their midst. Remove Igbos, there will be no Nigeria.
Okay, Biafran evangelist. Now you've made it clear for my viewers, and I think they are curious to know this particular question I want to ask. Please, now he's saying that they cannot survive without the Igbos, and at the same time, they still do not want an Igbo man to be the president of Nigeria. With your own fair judgment and understanding, what would you say is their fear? Okay, the Igbo man cannot be a president, and you still don't want them to go. And you say they are not still important to the country. Why do you think they're so scared of an Igbo man becoming the president of Nigeria?
Number one, they are scared of an Igbo man. Take a look at what is playing now. Mazen Namdekano. When Igbo man make up his mind of something, he doesn't go back to it. It's difficult to defeat. A Yoruba man, I ask, a landlord, he said why he's avoiding Igbo man in his house is that if you have Igbo, if you fight Igbo man, they beat you. He go beat you to death. But if na Yoruba man, he go beat you remain. It's a proverb and it's an adage. Themselves, they are afraid. Do you know why they're afraid? They know what Igbos can do. They know that if we decide to do something, we do it to the extreme. And we are the kind of people that we find it's not easy. That's why they will tell you, say, Igbo amazing. Not that we don't know king or we don't have king. We have a king. but we respect each other. The king respects us, and we respect the king. And the law does not come from the king alone. It must be on a dialogue table. Sure, you understand now? So, but in their own asses, they always want it to be them. Once they say, every other person must obey. But Igbo man is a person that anything you say, you table before him, he will ask you questions. Not even Yoruba, no Fulani, no Hausa will ask questions. But Igbo man, every whether he go school or no go school, he go ask you questions based on what you present to him. You see why they are afraid. And if you are not able to convince him, you cannot convert him.
So now.
So they are afraid. And two, another point is this. In 1966 coup d'etat, Nzogwu, they are afraid of Nzogwu because they did not see it coming. What Nzogwu gave to them in 1966, January 15. Then they were trying to carry out their evil manipulation, intimidation, humiliation, and oppression against Nigerians on the 16th of January, that 1966. But Nzogwu now carried his own on the 15th before that 16th. So, and they are not seeing Nzogwu as an Igbo man. They are seeing Nzogwu as a fellow Fulani, because that one has never identified himself or introduced himself as a fully pure Igbo man before them.